Try the newest, cheapest, and fastest delivery na express service. Introducing Moto Express PH. You can now leave your shopping and delivery needs with us without much exposure and interaction to people outside. Mapa-grocery items, medicines, foods, and other essentials and halal certified products, kami na ang mamimili at maghahatid sa'yo. Sinisigurado na ligtas, in good and quality condition ang mga pabili o orders sa delivery service na iyong i-avail. Para sa maayos at mabilis na delivery at order mo, ipamoto mo na. Download Moto Express PH app through Google Play that is built to deliver beyond your expectation. Tara na dito sa Moto Express. Dahil moto mo to.
Are you craving for some milk tea and donuts but you're watching your diet? Good news! You can now enjoy a healthier and superbly delicious keto milk tea and donuts here at Winkle Milk Tea and Winkle Donut. Has fewer calories, so it's good for the health and diet conscious and controlling weight. Why choose Winkle Milk Tea and Winkle Donut? The first halal certified milk Winkle Teas and Winkle Donut in the Philippines. The first healthy keto milk tea franchise in the Philippines. FDA approved. Uniquely infused milk tea flavors with high quality ingredients and premium taste. And if you want a healthy and refreshing franchise opportunity, a competitive healthy blended milk tea and donut franchise awaits you. We have business opportunity options you can choose from. Online seller, micro franchise, unit franchise, master franchise, international franchise. Order via our Facebook page, Winkle Tea and Winkle Donut, or contact 0995-551-4380 to experience this happiness in a box with your favorite Winkle Milk Tea and Winkle Donut.
Hello everyone, today I'm going to teach you on how to register in our platform. Firstly, you need to click www.ejasmine.com. This is how our platform interface looks like once you click www.ejasmine.com. As you can see, on the top right corner, click the login or register button. You will see two options, which is login button and register button. If you already have an account, just simply fill in your details. But if you does not have an account, click the register button and fill in your details requirement. If you are interested for becoming a vendor, you can click become a vendor button below. For vendor registration, you need to complete the details requirement. If you have halal certificate, you need to upload it on this section. Last but not least, once you have completed all the detail requirements, just click the register button. Thank you.
Another session of the Teachers Bureau. Ayan po, hindi masyadong maganda ang aking background, but at least this is better than the real background that I have right now. Hindi siya masyadong maganda. Anyway, so today, I remember po pala, before I remember anything, I would like to say good morning to Sir Ismael. Thank you very much po kay Sir Carl, na laging nag-a-assist sa akin dito. And of course, kay Sir Jerry Yao. Ayan po, good morning po sa inyong tatlo. And thank you very much for BBN and GPTV. And sa lahat po ng sponsor na nakita ninyo kanina. So, especially for the Winkle Milk Tea. Chinek ko po pala siya. Wala siya sa Metro Manila. Nasa, ano po siya? Nasa provinces, ano po. Pero maganda po ang Winkle Milk Tea, the way I see it, kasi ako po I am into dieting and syempre matanda na, 50 years old. Anyway, so so much for the age. I would love to try it. Kasi it is something na sa tingin ko ay okay because one of my friend is into keto diet. And so I heard, okay po, na ito ay for keto. Ayan. And I remember, ayan na nga po, doon sa I remember, nung pong nagsa-start pa lang ako dito at tinatanong po ako ni Sir Ismael, ano ba 'tong Teachers Bureau? Anong pwede niyang i-offer? What is your program format? Et cetera, et cetera. Initially, I told Sir Ismael that this Teachers Bureau will be intended for teachers practices, and then I will be, of course, inviting mga teachers that are entrepreneurs, and we'll be interviewing them at the same time because from the term itself, Teachers Bureau. And so I would like to share teachers who are teaching and at the same time entrepreneurs. But then again, of course, some of the teachers, they don't like to be featured, ganyan. So, it's okay, no problem. Wala naman po kasi itong pilitan. But actually, it's no longer that. As I go along with the format of the program, as you can see, the program now is more than just teachers, of course. So, I'll be sharing with you entrepreneurs, businesses, micro businesses and small businesses of successful individuals, not necessarily teachers. Ayan po. And then, of course, I'll be discussing viewpoints, academic viewpoints, ganyan po, for students. And as we all know, I would just like to connect. Why students? Because the future of our country depends on the students, the learners, the young people that we have right now. So we have to prepare them to be adults. Okay? So yan po yung number one purpose talaga ni teacher. Academically speaking, of course. Yung formative years niya kasi ay nasa mga magulang yan, nasa community. But after the formative years and they go to elementary, high school, college, yan po yung part where the teacher is really very important as a facilitator. Okay? Teacher lang po ang term, but actually the teachers are no longer teachers, but we are supposed to be facilitators of learning. Kasi may kanya-kanyang kakayanan ang mga estudyante. Okay, so ayan po. So I'm just explaining how the Teachers Bureau is going to be executed for the next few months. Okay, so good morning again, mga kaguro, and I would like to start with one concept that is common to all, young and old, workers, non-workers, teachers, non-teachers, and of course, students. As early as high school dapat eh. I remember when I was in elementary, para sa akin, ang pinagmamalaki ko lagi, I am very happy with my formative years. Yung sinimulan ko ng elementary sa private school. Of course, syempre mahal yon, alam ko naman. Pero happy ako that I started with that. And dapat po talaga yung formative years ng isang bata is really very, very, very strong. And the teacher is really, sa formative years, dapat naglalatag na ng mga concepts. Kasi kahit bata siya, let's not underestimate children. Actually, at a very young age, if you start concepts with them, mas madali nilang natitake. Kasi ang bata, hindi katulad nating matatanda, na marami na tayong mga backgrounds. Ayan. Most of us, most of the time, even if we don't want to do it, pero meron na tayong preconceived notions, marami na tayong sarili nating pananaw. Kaya pag may ino-offer sa atin na bagong information, we tend to reject. Hindi katulad po ng bata. Ang bata kasi, they just accept. Kaya mas maganda po na sinisimulan sila ng mga good concepts as early as elementary. Ayan po. So, the first concept that I would like to introduce, actually this is not a new concept. This is an old concept. But sometimes we forget. And at this time of the pandemic, we tend to forget. Number one is habit one. This is from Stephen Covey's Highly Effective People, the seven habits of highly effective people. Number one habit, according to Stephen Covey, is to be proactive. How would I explain being proactive? It is best explained when I will introduce to you another concept that is the negative side of being proactive, which is being reactive. Ayan. So pag sinabi kong ikaw dapat ay maging proactive at hindi reactive, mas madali mong maintindihan kasi there's the negative side of it. Okay, so the meaning of proactive is that, especially at this time of the pandemic, we don't react. We just think of ways on how to do good things, how to do things right for us and for other people. um, think of solutions rather than dwell on the problem. Ayan. So if there is a solution, if there is a problem, think of a solution and do not dwell on the problem. Stop talking about the problem too often or stop talking about the problem for long. Yung tipong isang oras na dalawang oras, panay-panay ang usap tungkol sa problema, wala naman nare-resolve. So dapat pag may problema, isipan ka agad ng solusyon. Yan. So we always look into the solution of the problem. But sometimes, there are problems that are not meant to be solved. If it is not meant to be solved, it means that it is something to be realized of. Okay? So, syempre, we have to always analyze. Pag hindi siya something to be resolved, yung tipong ano tipong sitwasyon na walang immediate solution, matagal pa ang solution bago maresolusyunan. Katulad po ng sitwasyon natin ngayon sa pandemic. It's about realization, not really looking for immediate solution. There are two kinds of solutions, of course. The yung immediate solution that we need to do right now, and then of course the long-term solutions that we need to do for the future. Kasi meron na yung planning, may programs, may projects, etc., etc. Yung mga everyday life problems natin, those are immediate, those are concerns or problems that needs immediate solution. But when we are in school, academic, work, etc., hindi ganun yon. So there should be it should be a long-term solution with projects and programs so that the solution can be sustained and improved as we go along. So ganun siya. So sa mga bata po, na mga estudyante ko that I told them to watch because I am going to also say something about research. Nakita ko to sa TikTok ni Sir Jerry. There are students of, I don't know, mga students po yata yun, yung mga nagtatanong sa kanya about research. And actually, it's a pressing concern with my students right now. Kaya I will say something about research after this. So, ayan po, sa mga estudyante ko, again, do not be too reactive and just be proactive. Iko-connect ko siya sa research. A lot of my students are really very reactive when it comes to research. Naalala ko kagabi lang to nangyari. Sabi ng isang estudyante ko, tumawag sila sa akin, kasama yung officer ng class nila. And then sabi niya, ma'am, bakit po gano'n? Hindi ko maintindihan yung sinasabi ni hindi ko pwedeng sabihin ng pangalan. Hindi ko pwede tawag dito, hindi ko maintindihan yung sinasabi niya para sana po maka-move on na kami. Ganyan. Sabi ko, ha? Napaka-reactive ng batang ito. So sabi kong gano'n sa kanya, tama naman si Christine. She's, oh my God, sinabi ko pero hindi ko sasabihin yung pangalan. Tama naman si Christine. Tama yung kanyang officer by asking about the variable. Kasi, di ba, sa research kasi natin, whether it's qualitative or quantitative, we are looking always for the variables. The variables are very important in every research. That is actually the core for us to be able to expound and create questions para naman sa ating mga surveys. And so, the officers are actually helping me dahil yung mga officers po, tinignan ko na kagad yung kanilang mga research. And I am very happy with the officers kasi ang officers po sa ABM ay napakagagaling at talaga namang officers talaga sila. Ano bang term yon? They live up to the term of being an officer. So yung mga papers nila, yung mga research nila ay really very good, and it is something for students, it is something that their classmates can emulate on. Yan. So pwede talagang gayahin kasi magagaling talaga yung mga content. And so I asked the officers to help me and initially check the papers of their group. Yung group lang sa sections nila. Ayan. So ako naman kasi pangkalahatan ako. So just imagine po, I have 4 sections, and each sections have 7 groups. And on the side, ang dami po namin ginagawa sa school, of course. May mga seminars, sunod-sunod, ang dami naming seminars, as ang daming concerns. I am one of the officers in the school. I have an ancillary that is very important to help the school head. And so sabi ko, paano ko kaya gagawin lahat ito? And so I have to explain to my students that I would be, of course, checking initially the papers of the officers, and then if the officers' paper is good, and then I would be asking them, of course, to initially check, or kung merong mga tanong, they could answer kasi nabigyan ko na sila ng preliminaries. And I have already explained the details or the importance of the parts of the research. And sabi ko nga, yung estudyante ko, itong si Christine, is one of those na talagang maganda yung paper. And I have given her an appropriate good grade for her research. And so, kagabi nga, so yun nga po, reactive yung isang student and she doesn't know what to do. And siguro, syempre, kapwa student nila, kaya hindi sila masyadong kampante. Okay, so they have to refer to me as the teacher. And this student is really very reactive about her research. So sabi ko, pinaliwanagan ko na lang. Sabi ko, kapag tinutulungan kayo, magpasalamat na lang, okay? Kasi kaya sila officer, they're there to help. So if you have questions, and lagi ko namang pinopost, if you have questions, you could always ask the officers, because the officers, I have already checked their research and the research is good. So ibig sabihin, pwede silang mag-assist. Okay, I am confident with that. Okay, so okay naman yung bata, napaliwanagan. And that is an example of a very reactive response from a student na talagang very ano siya, na parang parang ang sa tingin niya mali yung suggestion o yung tanong ng kanyang classmates, yung officer niya. And so I just needed to explain everything to her. And that's the reason why it prompted me to explain something about research today. Ayan po. Okay. So sa mga students, I told them to watch me, and sana maging meron akong maibigay na tawag dito na explanation. Naiintindihan ko naman ng mga bata because the students are really craving for explanations. At this time of the pandemic, they don't hear me, they don't see me. We only talk if the concern is really pressing, and if it's really urgent, and if it's really very important. Otherwise, they are always asynchronous in learning, uploading outputs sa Google Classrooms. And ako naman, checking the outputs and then commenting on the outputs of the students in the Google Classroom. And then following it up in the FBGC. So, ganun lang po yung mostly ginagawa namin talaga ng mga estudyante. But I always update and I always feedback. But of course, I understand that there are specific concerns na hindi kayang sagutin ng mga common, not common eh, general advisory, general updates yan. Puro general kasi para sa lahat. Siyempre, merong specific concerns ang bawat group. May specific concerns ang bawat estudyante depending on the kind of research or topic that they are having. Okay. So for inquiries this year, not this year, but it's in the DepEd curriculum. Ang inquiries po is about applying what they have learned from from qualitative research PR1 and quantitative research PR2. So in inquiries, they're going to apply either of the both. They are going to, of course, choose whether if it's qualitative or quantitative that they want to do or to work on. And then choose a topic that is for ABM, of course. Hindi po pwede na ABM ka tapos YUMS ang iyong research. Because as you can see, the senior high school is not somewhat, I should say, specialized na talaga siya. Kasi kung ABM ka, then we are going to talk about business. If you are YUMS, napakalawak ng YUMS eh. Ang daming pwede sa YUMS, like teaching is YUMS, mass communication is YUMS, criminology is YUMS, what else? Yun lang po yung immediate na tatlo na pwede kong banggitin na familiar ako. So those are YUMS courses. Sa ABM kasi very specific, which is business. Sa TVL, ang dami rin. They have electrical. What else? They have automotive servicing. Aside from automotive servicing, they have hairdressing, cookery. So those are the courses in TVL. Kita niyo mo, madami. So highly specialized na talaga siya. And then STEM, of course, it's science. Ayan, ang STEM is encompassing of science itself and of course, math. Yan, yung mga nag-i-specialize sa math and science. So hindi ka pwede, kung ikaw ay ABM, pag nag-i-inquiries ka, kung ikaw ay ABM, YUMS, STEM, and TVL, dapat ang research mo diyan sa program mo. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-research ng YUMS if you are into ABM. Kasi we would like to specialize on the program. At para mas maintindihan nila yung kanilang program when they go to college. Although tinanggal na po ang bridging, wala nang bridging ngayon, but if you really want to pursue business in college, ito po yung path. Talaga namang kailangan. But of course, in college, hindi na siya research. There is a specific term for researching, and that is yung kay Sir Yao nga po na marketing research. That's one for business kasi that's very important for business owners to know. And also feasibility study. Yan po ang sa business. But for the senior high school, it's the basic for students, yung tinatawag po nating research. Ayan po. So, ang haba ng prelude ko, no? Just to explain everything. Okay, so let's move on to, yes. Let's move on na to the research. There is this one thing na gusto ko lang i-explain or i-reiterate lang for the students who's watching right now. There are two kinds of research. So we have the quali and the quanti. Parehas lang ang way kung papaano sila gagawin. But of course, yung content ng qualitative at saka ng quantitative is two different things. Magkaiba sila, syempre. And so, ang pinaka-importante dyan, yung first step, of course, is you are going to think of a problem. Or, actually, you don't really have to think of a problem kasi nandyan ang problema. Ang dami-daming problema, ang dami-daming pwedeng gawan ng research. So, all you need to do is just to pick one concern and, of course, think of a viable Kasi ano na yan eh, pag nakaisip ka na ng topic, you have to think of a very efficient, important, viable title. Ayan, yung title mo. Initially, syempre meron kang title. And then after that, sinasabi ko nga po sa mga students ko, you cannot go to the statement of the problem without researching on your topic. So dapat, kapag nakapag-isip ka na ng topic at bago ka pa makapag-isip ng title, dapat nag-research ka na talaga muna. Nagsa-start na kagad ang research doon pa lang. Kasi let's say, naisip mo na ang gusto mong i-research is about Facebook. Nakakatulong ba ang Facebook as a platform for entrepreneurs, emerging businesses in the industry, especially like you, mga students. Kung gusto nyong mag-online selling, ganyan. Tapos yung iba, nag-online selling. So, nakakatulong ba talaga ang Facebook para makapag-advertise at makapag-introduce ng business nila? So that is the question. So yan kagad topic na kagad siya. So ano kaya ang magandang title for that? But before you think of a good title, you research about Facebook. Ano ba yung meron kay Facebook? Siyempre, dapat alam mo kung nag-research ka, alam mo na meron siyang feature ads. 'Di ba? Ads or advertising. Ano-ano yung mga feature ads niya? So meron siyang I remember meron siyang tinatawag na mga leads, demographics, that targeted your market na gusto mong i-target. But of course, itong mga ano na to, mga feature ads ni Facebook na to, may bayad. Kailangan mo magbayad. I remember when I was in a private school and we are trying to advertise the school, ginamit namin ng Facebook and we paid for 250 for 1 week. Pero yung 1 week na kasing yun, syempre titingnan mo yung duration ng enrollment period. Enrollment period starts in as early as January for private school. Ayan, nagsa-start na yan January pa lang. Kasi January, February, March, yung 3 months na yan, patapos na yung klase niyan. Papunta na tayo sa summer classes. So January pa lang, nagsa-start na ng planning, nagsa-start na ng enrollment do sa mga maagang nag-enroll for classes for the susunod na school year. And so we opt to choose to use Facebook nga po. And then we pay 250 for that. And as the school head of that school that time, hindi effective yung 1 week lang. Kasi it has to be, kumbaga, kung gusto mo talagang ma-advertise yung product mo o yung school mo, yung service, whatever product, it's either a good or a service. For the school, it is categorized service pag eskwelahan. Wala naman kasing good na binibenta ang eskwelahan. It's more on the service type. And so, kung gusto mo talaga siyang i-advertise and introduce ng mga new courses sa school mo, it has to be at least 6 months running ang iyong program o ang iyong project sa Facebook. And how much is that? So magkano? 250 is the lowest. Hindi ko na po, that time, hindi ko na tinignan kung ano yung nawala ko. Okay, ganun po talaga pagka live. Okay, so ayun nga po. Hi! Is this a networking or pyramiding? Or what kind of investment is this? Networking or pyramiding, and good luck. I'm not interested. No, this is not, of course. Sabi ko nga, this is research. Walang pyramiding po dito. We are talking about research. But thank you for that, for the clarification. Ayan po. So again, for the research, kapag gusto mong gusto mong gusto mong i-advertise ang either goods or service mo, if you are an entrepreneur, kailangan running yung project mo for advertisement for 6 months. Ayan, dapat 6 months yan. So for the school, at that time, in my experience, it should have run from January to until May. Kasi May, yung last month ng May, yung May na yan is yan yung mga late enrollees na yan. Kasi pagdating ng June, di ba po, dun sa old normal natin. Pagdating ng June, start na talaga ng klase yan. So, meron tayong early enrollment na tinatawag at meron tayong mga late enrollees or late enrollment na tinatawag. So, yun po yung ano natin. Yun po yung magiging concern natin dyan. So, sabi ko na-realize ko when I was a school director or school head, sabi ko, naku, kailangan pa talaga dito pera. You really have to pay. And sad to say, yung school ko po is a very small school. And hindi ko kasi syempre sa mga schools po, you have to, kumbaga, propose a project and fund it, request for funding sa school owner. I am just the school director. And nakita namin yung tungkol sa FB feature ads na yan, late na. Actually, nakita namin siya mga April pa. April na yata namin nakita. So sabi namin ay dapat pala nakita na natin to January pa lang or last year pa lang. Dapat kasi talaga inaano mo chine-check mo yung Facebook. Nung time na yon hindi pa ganun ka popular mag-introduce ng mga services. Unlike ngayon, pandemic syempre, because of the situation, talagang nag-advertise tayo ng product using Facebook. Pero during those times in the old normal, hindi ganun. Hindi po ganun tayo ng old normal. So, late na namin na-check yung mga features ni Facebook. So, sad to say. And then, of course, as the school director, I needed to write a proposal, a project, a letter to be funded by the owner. Of course, pagka ganun po, sa susunod na school year na yun mag-a-adapt. Ayan po. So, yun yung sa mga students, pagka syempre, you have to check really. Yun yung ibig ko sabihin sa research. Dapat, kapag tayo ay gumagawa ng research, yung mga bagay na yan, na-research na natin yan, bago pa man tayo nakaisip ng magandang title, and bago tayo makapag-produce of a very good title and also statement of the problem. Ayan. So, yan po mga students, kasi akala nila, kapag nagre-research, isip ng topic, gagawa ng tawag dito, gagawa ng title, after gumawa ng title, gagawa na sila ng statement of the problem without researching. Hindi po ganon. Kailangan po, nagre-research na tayo kaagad. Nakakita tayo ng problem, o viable problem na pwede nating i-research, bago tayo mag-isip ng magandang title, at saka statement of the problem especially, nagre-research na muna tayo dyan. Yan yung lagi kong sinasabi. Ilang beses na actually, time na. Of course, hindi ko naman masisisi yung ibang mga students. Mahirap talagang mag-backread sa GC ng Facebook. But I always tell them to backread and read announcement, etc., etc. There are some just, yung concept kasi ng concept of importance, information, how important is information ay hindi masyadong na-instill sa mga estudyante. Siguro mas important, normally of course, importante lang sa kanila yung information kapag ito'y patungkol sa kanila. Ganun lang naman lagi ang nangyayari. So kapag patungkol sa kanila, like for example, boyfriend, friends, siguro sa magulang, sa relatives, yan, especially kapag friends, kasi yan yung madalas nilang kadikit. And so they know how to backread. Pero kapag klase na, kapag turuan na, sa GC kami, pag sinabi kong backread, parang di na nila naintindihan. Kasi nga naman, ang dami nilang babalikan ang daming information talaga doon. But backreading is that is a skill that we should know in the new normal. Kasi part of the teaching, learning, delivery is yung messenger. Bakit part yun? Because yun yung pinaka-accessible sa lahat. Kapag nag-introduce ka ng bago, magagalit ang mga parents. Bakit? Kasi syempre sasabihin nila, hindi kami familiar, number 1. Number 2, may bayad ba yan? Ang Facebook, 'di ba? Pwede kang mag-load ng 10 pesos, pwede ka nga ng free data, makaka-receive ka ng advisory ng information. So it's very, very, very accessible talaga. So it's really hard to introduce new tools na pwede para sa kanila kapagka hindi talaga sila, they don't really welcome the idea, especially kapagka it would add burden to them in terms of loading, spending, ayan, spending for that. So, mahihirapan po tayo. So, that's the very gist of what I want to just inform my students in general, mga estudyante ko na mga nakikinig ngayon. So, mga bata, yan po, hindi po talaga tayo pwedeng mag-research nang hindi po natin muna tinitingnan in-depthly yung ating topics. So if our topic is about Facebook and how it can help entrepreneurs, so dapat yung features na yan, inaalam muna natin. And there's a lot. O ma'am, saan po namin makikita? Diyos ko, nagfe-Facebook ka araw-araw, hawak mo yung telepono mo, i-ano mo, i-scan mo, i-check mo, ang dami, yung market, ang dami dito sa bandang gilid. Siguro dapat ano talaga, magbigay ng tutorial, magbigay talaga ng discussion about these things sa mga students. Kaya nga lang mahirap talaga in this time of the pandemic situation kasi ang hirap mag-synchronous with them. But what I advise is that since hawak mo na ang telepono mo at lagi kang nagfi-Facebook with your friends habang wala kang ginagawa, i-browse mo, i-scan mo, i-check mo. Ang dami. I-click mo lang naman, wala namang hindi naman masisira yung phone mo. I-click mo to, i-click mo yan, tingnan mo kung anong lalabas. And then discover it for yourself. Ang dami-dami po doon. Ayan. And then pag may nakita ka na hindi mo alam, go to Google. That's the best friend of everybody now. So, ang best friend Google po namin ay napakatalino. Ipasok mo lang ang information na need mong itanong. Huwag ka na magtanong sa mga teachers mo o kahit kanino, itanong mo na lang kay Google, bibigyan ka naman niya ng sagot. Kaya nga lang, ang problema dyan, some of the students cannot really decipher legit websites. Yan lang ang problema. So, isa yan sa dapat na siguro maging tutorial. How can we decipher legit websites academically? Kasi lahat yan pwedeng i-access kung hindi tayo nag-aaral. Pero academically speaking, there are specific websites that is good na pwedeng pagkuhanan ng information. Because not all websites are, meron po kasing tinatawag, alam naman na natin yan ngayon, hindi na siguro yan, let's not be naive these days. There are some websites that are fake. So, kailangan po nating ma-decipher. Siguro one of these days, I have to, nakaisip ako ng topic. I'll be looking around my friends, asking around kung sino yung in-depth sa Facebook. And also, meron akong kilala sa pagdating sa website para makapag-discuss dun sa mga websites that are fake and how can we distinguish itong mga websites na to na fake. Kasi ang mga estudyante ngayon, of course, sa new normal natin, 21st century, the information is already in the tip of our fingers. So isang click lang, malalaman mo na kagad kung ano yung gusto mong malaman. The problem is, yung information ba na yan is tama. Kaya kailangan, tayo po, alam natin kung ano yung very, 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 very basic and alam natin yung foundation ng mga information na yan for us to be able to decipher kung yung pong sinasabi ay may katotohanan, tama ba o hindi. Kasi kung wala po tayong foundation of any information, the basic information that we need to know, mahihirapan po tayong mag-decipher ng mga tamang information sa internet. Ayan po. So, kaya mga estudyante, ang nagiging habit nila is mag-copy-paste, which is wrong. Wrong mag-copy-paste. Pag nakita nila yung title, copy-paste, paste kaagad dun sa kanilang mga tawag dito, sa kanilang PowerPoint presentations, sa Word formats nila, and then submit without reading. Kaya nga po yung isang araw din, they were trying to craft survey at hirap na hirap silang mag-craft ng survey. Why? Kasi naglagay sila ng mga information sa review of related literature without reading the literature itself. So, sabi ko, saan nyo nakuha yung mga tanong? How are you able to craft the questions in the survey nang hindi nyo binabalikan ng inyong review of related literature? So, dun nyo kasi yun makukuha. And the variables. While researching about the topic, dun mo na rin marirealize kung ano yung mga variables na kailangan mo. You cannot think of the variables on your own. 101%. That can't happen. So, kailangan magre-research ka talaga muna. And then, syempre, kung meron ka ng basic information na alam mo, which is ang ating mga estudyante, ay may basic information na pong alam on their own. Kaya pag sinasabi minsan ng mga parents, ano ba to? Sinasabi minsan ng parents na walang alam yung students namin. Hindi pa nga nila alam yan. Sila ay mga estudyante pa lang. Actually, that's wrong. Wag na po nating masyadong i-underestimate ang ating mga students. Hindi po totoo na wala silang alam. Meron silang alam because inquiries have prerequisite subjects. The prerequisite subjects of inquiries is practical research 1 and 2. And that is qualitative research and quantitative research po. Kaya hindi natin pwedeng sabihin, huwag po tayong magagalit sa ating mga kaguruan, tapos sasabihin po natin sa mga teachers na yung anak ko, kaya nga yan mag-aaral, estudyante, kasi dapat mong turuan. At wala silang alam. That's wrong. Huwag po nating sabihin yun. Kasi meron pong alam yung mga batang yan dapat. Okay, teacher. Sabi niya, okay, teacher, paano po nagkaroon ng alam ng mga estudyante ko? Hindi ka naman nagtuturo. Nagtuturo po kami. Yung totoo po, nagtuturo kami. Hindi po pwedeng sabihin na hindi kami nagtuturo. Why po? Kasi we have modules from DepEd. At yung mga modules pong yan ay ibinigay sa ating mga estudyante at the start of the class, of the school year. Those are the modules na pwede nilang basahin with all activities na pinagagawa po sa kanila ni teacher. Meron po tayong weekly home learning plan. Yan. So kung ano po yung dapat na gawin ng mga estudyante at kung ano po yung mga dapat nilang basahin. In reading, we learn. That is very basic po na natutunan natin sa elementary. So reading is learning. So if we read, we learn. Yun po yun. And of course, kung wala pong module, meron po ang mga teachers na mga self-crafted learning materials po para sa mga students po natin. And all they need is to, of course, read. So pag nagbasa po ang bata, imposibleng wala po siyang matutunan. Because when we read, we learn. Ganun po yun. Kaya hindi po pwedeng sabihin na hindi kami nagtuturo. Kasi nagtuturo po kami. And we have po tools. We have the GC. Ayan po. Nag-a-announce po kami, nag-explain kami dyan para sa mga estudyante. Ang Google Classroom ay ginagamit namin para mag-explain, mag-upload ng mga supplemental materials for them to watch. Pero syempre, sasabihin nila, yung mahal-mahal naman, pag pinanood namin yan, mauubos yung load namin. Okay, wag nyo pong panoorin. Pero, basahin yung in-upload na self-learning materials. Ang problema, hindi rin nababasa. For whatever reason, hindi ko na rin alam. So, pero sana within the day nababasa natin 'yan kasi hindi po natin pwede talagang lahat isisi sa amin. Hindi po pwedeng isisi lahat sa DepEd. Nasa sitwasyon po tayo na hindi dapat nagsisisihan. And that is the very core of what I have shared with you earlier, being proactive and reactive. Okay po. So, sana naman po I did not sound, nagsisermon. I'm just stating facts and I just want to embed some insights that we should know and learn so that it's not difficult for us to study in the new normal. Ayan po. And sana po, bumalik na tayo dun sa old. hopefully. At para po maging magaan na po para sa ating lahat. With that, thank you so much. And I'll see you again for another Teachers Bureau session. Goodbye. Have a nice day and happy weekend.